What's up, Sports Talk Detroit? Hey, we are starting another video here. And before we get rolling, we are going hot and heavy with the NFL draft. It is not even a week away. We are just pumped. We are ready. And so don't forget, April 28th, 8 o'clock, we're live streaming. Watch the draft with us. We would love to have you there. Don't forget, mark your calendars, do whatever you do. I'm sure we'll set out this as well. But today we want to preview that draft a little bit, looking at who the Lions have brought in. Chris, what do we got going in this video today?
Yeah, so what we're going to do is look at our basically, I didn't really realize. So how it works is you get a chance to bring in, I guess, up to 30 players, and you can bring them in, or you can request a time to see them at their local pro day and spend more time with them. I'm pretty sure that's how it works. So what Pride of Detroit did here was they just laid it out for us, basically who we're going to talk to, who we're going to spend more time with. So both who we've brought to the facility and who at their local pro day that we've spent and basically gotten permission to talk to. So
yeah, got that interview with them, right?
Yep. So I thought if we look at this, we can kind of read between the lines, kind of look at what we're going to do draft wise. And so for me, I'll give you mine, Craig, that stands out, and then you can give yours. Is, you see the edge guys right there, the four edge guys. It's like, okay, clearly we're looking at them. And then, you don't see any of the tackles. The tackles in this draft are very sought after. And I thought maybe we would see a couple of those guys. They're so
maybe
elite.
One.
Yeah, just, hey, you're not going to play tackle right away. You're going to be guard, and we're just going to be elite as can be. But we are not seeing those top tackles, and instead we do have a couple offensive linemen, but not. I mean, it's clear
down here at the pro day, but not. I mean, those are later round.
Yeah, it's clear that we have. We're good on offensive line, which is hard. Most teams, I mean, I would say 28 of the 32 teams are not good on offensive line like we are. I mean, we really are good. So you can see that we're looking for edge, and we got a lot of linebackers as well. I'll shut up. I'm taking at all the positions here, but edge stands out for me. Tackle, that there's no offensive lineman, basically, is another one. What about for you?
Hey, all those wide receivers that we've been mock drafting? They're not here. Nope. Now, again, these are top 30 visits, so, you're going to have your more elite players in this as well. So I guess that makes part of it. But it is very interesting to me how there are in this top 30 visits where they've come to our facility. Tell me if I'm wrong here, but we've had 3 offensive players. 3. And it's interesting to me, too, that Kenny Pickett is the second quarterback. That's very, very intriguing. I don't know if that's because they think he'll fall or because they're like, should we do our research on him at number 2? Because he's basically Jared Goff again. And so that's really interesting to me, what they're looking at here. It doesn't – I mean, like, a lot of this is what we're saying. Nakobe Dean, Quay Walker, Asamoah, right? Like, I mean, these are the guys we've been talking about. Hamilton, Seen, Joseph, kind of surprised not to see Dax Hill on this list. So, I'll probably stop scrolling up and down this and just allow people to look. But
no, you're good, because you're giving a good example of what, I would say 85% of these players are defense. And
they really are, especially the elite players, which tells me that the Lions, and this is the stuff where we can start reading into it.
Yeah.
So this tells me that the Lions are thinking in their first and second rounds, they want to go heavy defense because they're looking at the elite players, either players who could fall to them at 32, 34, or they might want to pick up at 2. And so they really want to do their homework there. And it tells me we want 2 to 4 starters on the defense from this draft. And so that's kind of what I'm seeing. And then when you go down here to the local pro day, a lot more offense, but it's also a lot of guys that are going to be going somewhere between round 3 and 7. I mean, am I wrong here? That except for Sauce Gardner,
obviously. Saucy, yeah,
he's in the play at number 2.
Yeah, no, it's interesting because during this time, a couple of years ago, the NFL moved the draft back a couple more weeks just for this stuff, right? They want you talking. They want you wondering what's going to happen. They want the headlines. And when you look
It's
at what
working.
Mel Kiper says, or you react to that versus, hey, this is some real information of who we're bringing in and who we want to see. That's a way different story than just like, oh, Todd McShay thinks we're gonna. It's like, no, we're actually looking at, hey, look, we're doing what we really want, and that is we're
Yeah.
going defense heavy. We've just been preaching that, and I think that's what makes you and I so nervous. Is like, don't, please, just like, it's so clear to go defense. So if we don't like go defense, or we miss on a defensive guy, or we
The
just do
Lions
something that we
thrive.
shouldn't be doing, you're just gonna be like, man, but it's like, we're showing that we're doing what we've been asking for Brad Holmes to do. Bring in defense, get elite talent with that first, second pick, maybe, those that second pick, 32 and 34. Hey, I'm good with an offensive guy in there, and those, one
Sure.
of those three.
Yeah.
But
One of
for
the
the
3.
most
Yeah.
part, yep, we are focused on defense. I'm glad to see the people that we have coming in, and it just is like, we're just, you look at that list, it's like, man, you almost can't mess that up if you go defense with that
Yeah,
first two
there's a
picks.
lot of depth in this
Oh my
draft,
gosh,
especially
yeah.
at the defensive position. So, let me ask you this question. You can see this now. What's a name here that sticks out to you? What is a name? And you're not allowed to say Kayvon Thibodeau. We've talked about him enough. What's a name that sticks out to you that says, you know what? I'm glad we brought him in for a visit, and I would like to see him in a Detroit Lions uniform. And I can scroll if you want, but
Yeah, go down to well, actually, the guy, he's actually on the top, and that is the wide receiver from Arkansas. That maybe it's just because he's the only wide receiver, and we
so he
were hot.
sticks out to you,
Yeah,
Treylon
man, we were
Burks.
hot and heavy with wide receiver. We want to see that elite wide receiver that can just, yeah, you catch a 7-yard slant and you take it 35 yards. I mean, that is the type of stuff that is just so huge. And then we got Chark, and we kind of cooled on the wide receiver thing because it
For
did fill a
sure.
big hole, but we still have a big hole there. I think it would just love to have an explosive guy, and he's a guy that a lot of people are talking about, just his speed, his explosiveness. He really broke out last year, so it's like, hey, I would be good with a wide receiver because that Chark might get injured. We just don't have that. We're one really elite wide receiver away from being like, man, Goff, we've given you everything, man. You've got an offensive line, you've got a great running back room, you've got great offense, you've got
Yeah.
great wide receivers. So that's one I really like, just because, man, I'd be good with a wide receiver as well.
I'd be good with a wide receiver. I don't think that's the one for me.
Yeah, who's
Just
yours?
because he's a little too heavy on the price tag. I don't love the speed. He's good. He's physical. Good hands. But Jared Goff has shown that he doesn't love throwing to guys who get no separation. He just does. He's not the quarterback who takes chances like that. If you don't have separation, he's going to hit the check down. So
Mhm.
I think when I look at this, the name that just keeps sticking out to me more and more and more is Quay Walker,
Mm.
linebacker out of Georgia. And here's what I've realized: there are about 3 or 4 safeties and 3 or 4 linebackers that I would just be perfectly happy with. And I trust the Lions. I trust them. I know that sounds absolutely insane. I really shouldn't be saying that. But I trust Brad Holmes. How about that?
Yeah,
To decide which one is the right fit, because I see all of them and I'm like, yeah, I can see how they would all be successful, and I can see how all of them would struggle. But I really do think they all have the tools to be there. So that's one name that sticks out to me as
I
well. I
love
think
that, and
he's a good fit.
I almost said Nakobe Dean too,
Sure.
because he was one that, man, for a minute there we thought we could get him, and then it's like, no way, we're never gonna get him, and now I really think he is in play.
I
And
love Dean on tape. The only part that scares me is what? He's 5'11", and he looks fast on the field, but he didn't run.
yeah,
So I wonder, how fast is he,
I
right? Or
know.
did he just look fast behind that beast of a defensive line in Georgia? So when you're running free, a lot of people look fast.
And
So I mean, like, we could talk about this all day, right?
oh, we
We could talk
could.
about this all day. Let me ask you this question. Who's on this? Who's a late round pickup that you like? I mean, the people that you could be looking at that would be that Darylin Turner Yell, or anybody from this local pro day. Is there any name that sticks out to you there on something the Lions could do in a later round?
Yeah, right there, Chris Hinton from Michigan
Oh,
is
okay.
just one that we've We saw now nothing super explosive, but he's another developmental piece that, like, man, if you picked him up in the sixth, fifth round or something, it's
Yeah.
like, man, that is just a great D tackle because he showed some things here and there for us. You know, we're Michigan fans, we're watching, but um, there's a guy there that I just like. Hey, that's a great depth. That's who you get right there. That yes, he goes in the sixth round or whatever, but man, the developmental piece could be there. So that's someone I like a little bit later. How about you?
It is interesting how many Michigan guys they brought in, isn't it? Do you think well, not brought in, do you think it's just because they went there because it was so close?
Yeah, I
Um,
think yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know, that's interesting. I have a couple names on here. I think Stuber out of Michigan,
Mhm.
I mean, he's part of a good offensive line, not as a guy to come in and start. He's offensive line depth. So I really like that in a later round. I think that would be a really good pickup. You can never have too much depth on the offensive line. And I don't know, Hassan Haskins, I mean, just powerful back, runs well,
I
might
didn't even see
be
him. Oh
yeah,
my
it
gosh,
might I
yeah.
mean, he'd be able to play in special teams. He did that well at Michigan. So I think that would be another guy that it's like, hey, maybe bring him in to compete for that fourth running back spot and even third as far as carries go.
You
So yeah,
you
I mean, I think that's good. I don't know what else. Do you have anything else on this? I
well,
mean, we've
uh,
previewed it. We're gonna watch
yeah.
it live with hopefully most of you anyway. But
Yeah,
um
that's what I was gonna say. Live, man, watch this live because the closer we get, I don't know if it, you know, we keep saying I don't know if it's because we're covering it more than we ever have, but it's like, man, this is gonna be a really exciting draft. So
yeah,
yeah, it'll be good.
I'm excited for this draft. So we're going to leave you with that. Hey, hit that subscribe button below if you haven't already. I mean, this video is almost 12 minutes. If you watch this whole thing, you must like something that we're doing. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, hit it. Leave us with a comment. Who's your sneaky guy? Who's the guy that you're like, oh, I would love to see the Lions go after this person in the third, fourth, fifth round, something like that. And who could surprise some people? Leave that comment below. Let us know how you think we're doing. And we will see you on the next one.
See ya.
Go Lions.